Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Amber Ghaddar, co-founder of Block, to discuss connecting institutional and decentralized capital markets. Amber, it's great to meet with you. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And, kind of a big day. Bitcoin hit over $50,000 this Tuesday, February 16th. What's driving institutional and retail interest?
Well, it's not surprising. We've had a plethora of good news, of positive news coming through the past 2 weeks. We've seen Tesla investing 10% of their cash into Bitcoin. We've had a lot of noise about other emerging tech companies and tech companies that are going to open their treasuries to Bitcoin. We had MasterCard accepting Bitcoin, PayPal having cryptocurrency investable in the UK. We had the city of Miami talking about adopting Bitcoin. We had BNY Mellon, I think that was yesterday. So, plethora of good news, supporting prices, and we're in a bull run, so things are still going that way.
Yeah, it certainly appears to be. And do you think Bitcoin still has more room to run? In other words, do you expect more PayPal, Tesla, BNY Mellon kind of announcements to come out of these larger institutions?
Definitely. I mean, this year is definitely the year of Bitcoin. It's definitely the year of DeFi. And it's not surprising because finally we started to have the infrastructure that is necessary for institutional players to come into the game. And, they're being very smart because Bitcoin in the end is a fantastic asset class, crypto in general, Bitcoin in particular. It's an asset class with a high volatility, high returns, excess positive kurtosis, meaning that the probability of greater returns is higher than, let's say, the stock market. It has very low correlation to other asset classes, and it's non-normally distributed. So it makes absolute sense as a portfolio manager to have it in your alternative asset class allocation.
Now, is part of this due to the fact that there's a limited amount of supply? In other words, companies can issue stock at a relatively, it's an easy process, right? But with Bitcoin and mining and the process behind it, there's a finite amount. So there could be demand, but there's only so much supply.
Definitely, that definitely helps. And, with the current monetary and fiscal policies that we have around the world, the current inflation in asset prices, you'll definitely need to look at something slightly different, like what we call maybe digital gold. And a lot of people compare Bitcoin to digital gold.
Let's talk about connecting the institutional and decentralized capital markets. There's more than just Bitcoin. What are some of the application of other digital assets that are helping to build this ecosystem?
So there are quite a few. And what is actually very interesting right now is usually Bitcoin was the driver of all the other cryptocurrencies. And what we're seeing today is actually a bifurcation between Bitcoin, that is becoming digital gold, that is becoming an investable asset class to institutional, and then some of the other cryptocurrencies like the Ethereum of the space or the Polkadot of the space that are bifurcating. Why? Because of this boom in decentralized finance that we're having, we've seen a lot of products coming through, a lot of projects and startups coming through, and we still expect this for the next year and going forward.
And Amber, speaking of the ecosystem, where does Block fit into it?
So it's a very good question. So one of the issues that people do not realize is that you always compare the blockchain revolution to the internet revolution in the year 2000. And internet disrupted the flow of information, democratized the access to knowledge, but the internet and mobile communication arrived in a sort of a virgin industry from a regulatory perspective. Now, finance is an extremely regulated industry. And since 2008, in the US at least, finance is 3 times more regulated than the healthcare industry. So you cannot just come and disrupt this industry like that. You have a lot of issues from an infrastructure point of view, from an operational point of view, and then from a regulatory point of view. And what Block does is actually bridge the two worlds in order to ideally unleash the full potential of blockchain.
All right, Amber, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.